are discussing Bhakti in chapter 12. We've heard two different versions of Bhakti, one through actions, and then we've been hearing in the last couple of verses and the next two that I'm going to discuss today, Bhakti shown through behavior. So the action ones included prayer and performing rituals, cleaning up the deities, placing them in a nice order in our mantles, and adding appropriate decorations and ornaments, flowers, doing deepas, the candles or oil lamps around. All that is part of the action through which we show bhakti. The other next one was gathering knowledge about divinity. It's infinite, but still attempting to gather knowledge about divinity. That's another action, which is what I'm trying to do through reading the Bhagavad Gita. The next one was meditation. And then it was about detachment from the outcomes of our actions. So these are the ones that are actions, although the last one perhaps is part of the behavior. And then came the behavioral ones, where we were told that control the emotions that lead to hatred for others. So such as pride, jealousy, arrogance, wanting to tell lies, avoid those, and have modesty and such good thoughts, to have love in your heart. So having love in one's heart was the key for that kind of bhakti. Then came the another behavioral form, where you do not harm any of God's creations. Doing good is to all God's creations is a good thing, but if you cannot afford that, at least do not harm any of God's creations. The environmentalists would love to hear that, for instance. So those were the behavioral things that were told to us until the last verse. Verses 16 and 17 today also continue with behavior through which we can show bhakti, or control of certain behaviors through which we can show bhakti. So in verse 16, it starts with controlling desire, being pure in our thoughts, as well as keeping our body clean, so pure inside and outside. Adept at things that we do. In other words, don't do anything half-heartedly. If you're performing your duties, do it with full heart and complete the tasks. Be fair in your judgment. Control the type of actions that lead to sorrow. And as much as possible, perform sacrifices. That's verse 16. All behavior controls and behavior modifications. That's bhakti, is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. In 17, it continues, and it is a bit intriguing. It says, always try to think of this divinity that created everything. Good way or bad way? It says good and bad. Bad. And that reminded me of a story I heard some time ago, that Shankaracharya, Mahaperiva, once told. It's a true story where some gentleman came over to the ashram uninvited. Of course, most of us are uninvited. We just walk in to the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. And he started writing everywhere, there is no God, there is no God, there is no God. Many, many times, all over the place. And in protest of this religious entity, everyone was sort of perturbed by that, and they all they didn't know what to do. They didn't want to take action themselves because it could lead to some protest, bigger incident. So instead of acting immediately, they went to Mahaperiva for his advice, and apparently he told them immediately, very calmly, that let him finish, and then let him go when he is finished. But remember, what he is doing is something that is going to give him benefits. It's punyam. Because, think about it, how many of you here wrote or had the thought of God this many times, like this gentleman is doing now? And everybody was astonished by that answer, and they just waited. He finished all his desire to say there is no God, and he left. That's exactly what verse 17 is saying in chapter 12. Just think of me, good or bad, it's good enough. That's bhakti, what I'm hearing from it. More soon.